Hey yo, what is up everybody? And being as I went over the quarry in a lot more depth and I've had a lot of comments about the crafting system as well, I figured I would show you not only how the custom crafting system works, but 3 different ways that you could get it to function. So let's go. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is have something to craft into. I like to use droppers or dispensers. You can use those too. What I like to do is have a dropper as a generic module, and then it clones in the dispenser afterwards. So what we'll do is we'll take these dispensers, whack them in here, and we'll call them custom crafting table, because this is one of the ways we can prevent players from abusing these systems that we have in place. We can make sure that the blocks we use have specific values, because we're going to use the test for blocks check to make sure this works. So if we name this dropper, for example, this dispenser should I say, when we click into it, it will say custom crafting table right there at the top. So the player can't just put down any other dispenser and have it work. They have to have one that has that data tag attached to it. So the only way they can get that is however you choose to give it to them. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the 3 different types. So we'll have type 1, type 2, and then type 3, like so. Right then, for the first type, we're going to use an armor stand. So let's give this Tucker a name, and we'll call him custom crafter, because that just makes it nice and easy, because that's the term I used before. So custom crafter. Okay. Very simple, and we'll go and name tag this guy. Excellent. So there we go. Now we have our custom crafting setup. So remember, you need the custom crafting table. So we will put this down, and what we need to do now is make something for him to test against. So we'll make a little area out here, and we'll pop one of these down. So you need something for it to test against, and then something for it to clone in. So we need 2 of the same custom crafter tables, because obviously we need that data tag enabled, so we need to be pulling from this stack of custom crafter tables, because they all need to be identical. So in this one we will create the recipe. So what shall we craft? Ooh, I don't know. Let's make tridents craftable. I've done this in my other world, and what I did was I made 3 diamonds at the top like that, and then a stick out of iron. So we'll make that our trident recipe. So we'll put that in the one we're going to test against. So we'll have 3 diamonds there like so, and then the 3 iron for the stick, and there we go. That's our trident crafting recipe. In the one behind it we'll put the output, so we need a trident, and that's it. That's that set up. So we have our custom crafting table. Now you could make this armor stand invisible if you like, but this box right here is where the magic's gonna happen. So now we need to write the code. Very, very straightforward. Let's grab one of these repeating command blocks. So we're going to execute ati name equals custom crafter, because we are referencing this guy here. So we're going to look 1 block below him, which will be where our custom crafting table will be, and we're going to test it against these blocks over here. So off from that we're going to need a chain command block. Oh, wait, we're not done. We are not done. Right, so execute at the custom crafter, and we're going to look test for blocks. Now we need the coordinates of the blocks we're going to test against. So we'll go look at it, and we'll get the command up in the command typey window, test for blocks, and then we're going to take the numbers that it gives us. So 52, 68, 27, 52, 68, 27. We'll type that in twice, hit enter just so the command can fail, but we can remember it and reference it in a moment. And then there we go. So we can bring it up here. So it's 52, 68, 27. So 52, 68, 27, 52, 52, 68, 27, and then tilde, tilde, tilde. No, tilde, tilde, and then we want to go -1 on the center tilde because that's our y-axis, and then another tilde. So we're going to compare those blocks, and then we need to have this as always active and unconditional. So it's going to try and compare those blocks, and it's failing right now because those blocks don't match. But now, if we go over here and we get the same ingredients out again, the diamonds and the iron. Where's the iron? There we go. And then we put those in here, like the same arrangement. There we go. And now we check this. One block's compared, and that is telling us that they match. So, if we were to put in an extra piece of iron, they're not exactly the same, so they won't match. If this didn't have the custom crafting table there, instead just read dispenser, they wouldn't match. So now that that's matching, we'll just take one out so it doesn't trigger automatically. What we can do is then have a conditional block come right off it. So we want chain conditional, and then at this one we're going to do execute at E type equals armor stand. No, not going to do type equals armor stand. We're going to do name equals custom crafter. You will see why I'm doing it this way in a moment. And then we'll do tilde, 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 and then we're going to do, let's make that bigger. Tilde, 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 and then we're going to do clone, and it was, we need to get the bot. I'm losing the ability to. I've had a few ROMs to just ease the nerves. Right, so we're going to clone this block in from behind it. So we need to target it and we'll go clone 52, 68, 28. Grab those coordinates. Excellent. It doesn't matter that's given us an error. That's not why we did that. So here we go. So we'll clone. What were those coordinates again? Just double check them. 52, 68, 28. 52. No. 52, 68, 28. 52, 68, 28, because it needs a range, and we want it to go relative, relative, down 1, relative, to replace the block beneath it. So, now, in theory, as soon as we do that, it should execute the clone. So when we put the iron in here, we get our trident. Excellent. So to continue that up off the chain, what you can then do is have another recipe in this side here. So we'll go across one and we'll pop those two droppers down. Again, make sure they're from the custom crafting table. And what should we make this time? Let's give name tags a recipe. Okay, so we'll grab some name tags. We'll pop a name tag in. There is the output. And in here we will put I don't know, 2 pieces of iron like that. Really simple, really straightforward. So on the chain command off this, we want this to be unconditional, so it runs regardless. So every time the bottom one runs, which is a repeating always active block, it will trigger the entire chain, but it will only this one cares about the result of this one, and then this one will run regardless, and the one above it will only care about the result of this one, and you can chain other blocks off the top like that. So we need to do exactly the same command as before. So we're going to go over here, grab the coordinates. So we'll look at it, test for blocks. Oh, isn't that? Alright, okay. Test for blocks, not floor. And then we're going to grab the coordinates. So 51, 68, 27. Excellent. So we're going to do execute at E name equals custom crafter. And we're going to go add its relative location. We'll make that bigger so you can see. And we're going to do test for blocks, and we'll bring up our 51, 68, 27, 51, put a space in that, 51, 68, 27, 51, 68, 27, we have to double it up because it wants a range, and then we're going to do tilde, tilde, -1, tilde, so it's going to compare the blocks directly below it to make sure they match to that one. So as you can see, it's failing to execute. But if we were to put in some iron like so, you'll see now 1 block's compared. So we can go and take that iron right out of there. Easy does it. And then we can put in the clone command. So I'll have a block on here. We want that to be conditional because we only want it to clone this block in if this previous block's conditions are met. So now we need to grab the coordinates for this one. So we'll just look at it and we'll do clone 51, 68, 28. Grab those coordinates. And then we'll do execute ati name equals custom crafter. We'll make that bigger in a moment. There we go, and then we want to do the clone. Let's get our coordinates up again. 51, 68, 28. 51, 68, 28. 51, 68, 28. And then we want to do it at the relative -1 on the Y. And there we go. So now that's conditional, so it will only trigger if this one is true. This one's unconditional, so it will trigger as long as this originating block starts the entire chain. So now, if we put in 2 pieces of iron, oh, forgot the second piece. And I put an extra E in name. Check your spelling, guys. There we go. So now that those have been compared, it will change to the name tag. That will automatically stop the block compare spam from continuing on the side of your screen. So if I give that a moment for that to disappear, and then we show you that again, you can see that it only ever came up for 1 tick. So that is how you make a custom crafting system, and you can duplicate that and continue it going for as many different times as you want. So now you've got the basics out the way, we'll go over the 3 different types. So I'll just fix that. And the second type that I'm going to go over, because this is obviously the armor stand type, the custom crafting type, that is fine. You can use these 2 methods in conjunction. So what we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves a custom item that the player cannot craft. Okay, so you can do this one of 2 ways. You can give yourselves a command block, and what you can then do is you can either place it down and give it some unique text. So we'll call this custom craft, and you can put some custom crafting key in there. And then what will happen with that is if we get rid of that command block and then we shift middle click that one, now this command block has that data on it. See? It's got data. And then what we can do is we can take that block and we can call it custom crafter. Okay? So now that there is a block that the player cannot craft by themselves at all. There's no way. And it has also got some custom data in it. So even if they did get their hands on a command block and renamed it, it still wouldn't match the same thing. So together with this particular type of block and this comparison setup, you can make really obscure custom key doors that people cannot in any way craft the key to, because it would have to match the data tags and it would have to be a block that they can't spawn in. But the main purposes for this is to show you that this system is, you know, completely transferable to this method. So if we go to here and we put these 2 iron ingots in here, nothing is going to happen, right? But if we take this custom crafting block and throw it on top, did that? No, okay, on top, throw it on top, you will see that we get a name tag. And we also get our custom crafter back. So we can do the same thing for the trident. So if we take the diamonds and we set the recipe up, nothing's going to happen right away. But then we take our custom crafter and we throw it on top, and boom, we get our trident. So that is another way of setting up your custom crafting. And the final method is very, very similar, but instead of doing that, I honestly don't recommend this method because If you've got multiple people in your world, it's really going to be hard to keep track of. But what you can do is execute, instead of at custom crafter, you can do it either at a person's name, so I can put my username in here, or which I much more recommend, but then you have to set this up for every single person in the server, or you can do at A and then test for blocks and then execute at A instead of at E. The problem with this is you're gonna have to set up some sort of dummy to keep track of different variables, because otherwise whenever this is true, it's going to do it for everybody. So if I just put the trident recipe in there right quickly like that, and then stand on top, you'll see it will do that. But if there was somebody else somewhere in the world, because it's executing at A, which is everyone, it's going to spawn the results in underneath them as well. So you can do it in either having an armor stand on top called custom crafter. You can do it by chucking a named item called custom crafter on top, or you can do it by just jumping on the block. But again, that's more so for if you're just doing it in a single player world. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed that little look into a bit more in depth on how the custom crafting works and how easy it is to set up. The main important thing is when you're testing for the blocks, you need to make sure you're testing a range, and that range is just the one block against the relative location of the block under the custom crafter. So whether or not it's the item on top of the block or the custom crafter armor stand, it's still looking at that block below it, and then you got to clone in the relative item, the relative block behind it. So to get the test for blocks, you look at it, test for blocks, and then the numbers will come up, 51, 68, 27, and when you want to do the clone, you just look at the one you want to clone, and then clone 51, yeah, good, 51, 68, 28, and then you take those and put them in the relative command blocks and then continue the chain upwards. Personally, I think this method is a bit better because you don't have any ugly armor stands hanging around. You can decorate your crafting table how you choose. One of the things that I like is to use an item frame and a regular crafting table, and then you just whack the item frame on the front and the crafting table, and then you can also stick one on the top and put a crafting table on there if you want to do that as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to leave a little bit of a like, a little bit of a subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next command block tutorial. If I haven't shown you yet already, I have a cute little setup here that makes llamas shoot TNT, arrows drop TNT, and trident summon lightning. So stay tuned for that. Bye bye now.